I don't know what you can call this, like a vegan sci-fi battle in this field that I created. I'll share the video right now. I don't know if you've seen that, Johnny, but it's a pretty wild video.
I have not. I'm
Oh,
excited to see your vegan food fight in the
yeah.
in the garden.
What's up, everyone? It's Jonny and Sway with another Augmented Imagination podcast. We didn't upload a podcast last week, Johnny, because you were sick. Why did you get sick, man?
Why? That's a bigger question, but yeah, I was down with the COVID, which was not fun. So took me out for a week, but I'm back. Appreciate everybody's patience. And silver lining was like you and I had sort of a week to just kind of stand back a little bit,
Oh,
reflect
yeah.
on things. Um, yeah, man, just kind of take a little bit of a breather and start to kind of gear up for the now, right? The next chapter, what we've got going on now. So, yeah, apologies if I have a little bit of a COVID brain here, still a little bit foggy, but feeling much better and excited to be back.
Glad that you're back. I did appreciate that little break where I wasn't worried about uploading media and content. I was like, I got to take a step back, consider other ideas, dive into some art, and just kind of catch up too with a lot of things that were falling behind. So
Yep. Make
these kind
some,
of
yeah,
breaks are always necessary.
you got to make some a personal piece, which I think we've been so
Yeah.
busy we haven't had a chance to do that in a while. But yeah, dude, it's crazy. You shared that piece. I don't know if there's a title for it, but the working title in my mind was like drowning, and I felt like you were expressing what I was feeling, and it's probably just right a testament to how like synced up we are. For anybody out there who's had COVID, I think it sort of affects everybody differently. But the biggest aspect of it for me is like the mental, and it just causes like these crazy anxiety spirals. I think part of it is I'm day to day, I carry such like a heavy workload, and we're just like have all these projects in play, and I'm like, shit, man, I cannot be like down and out for a week because all of these things will fall off. But it's actually really nice when, that sort of happens and you're forced to kind of take a step back and you realize like, oh no, all this stuff isn't like the world's not going to end, right? Things will go on.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to give you sort of grace in time to recover. But all that to say, dude, like during the height of COVID, I was just like spiraling out. And then I saw your piece and I was like, oh shit, Sway is totally like yeah, formalizing, visualizing the way I was feeling.
Yeah, I found the opportunity and I took it by force.
Yep.
And yeah, man, the breaks are always needed. And you told me that you also took advantage. Every time you feel down, you would do the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, dude, that's my go-to. You're sick in bed. You need to sort of like drift in and out of sleep, but you want something on in the background. Lord of the Rings trilogy is my go-to for that. And it's just like, it's just like nice ambiance to have in the background, but
Yeah,
I can
for
sort of
real.
fade out and kind of fade back in and be right back in the story. Um, but dude, it's just a reminder of like what an epic trilogy, what an epic world that Tolkien built. You know, we always talk about like world building, and I think like that's right. He's one of the real pioneers in that way, where he just built this entire world. And he actually, I don't know if you know much of the history. He was a language professor and linguist at
Right.
Oxford, and I think his entry point to it was like he just wanted to sort of explore like the Elvish languages and kind of
Right.
make up languages. And then he had that piece, and so he had to construct the entire world out of it. And I think that's so often how like the world building goes. We were talking about it
Yeah.
in the spaces on Friday, where like you might have an idea for a character or a scene or one little thing, and then you build that, and you're like, oh, this leads to this and this and this, and the next thing you know, you have an entire world sort of built, rendered from the middle out, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. That Elvish language is built up so much that I think people nowadays they do like they learn they go out of the way. At least the Lord of the Rings diehard fans they go out of the way to learn the language. And there's people out
Yep.
there who speak Elvish.
Yeah, dude, and it's like it's a
Like
legit language, right? That's what's so crazy about it
yeah.
is Tolkien had those capabilities. But my wife actually lived in Oxford for a year, like when we were in college, and I did several trips over there. We started dating when she was over there. But I did several trips, and we went to, I believe it's called the Eagle and Child, which was like this little pub, this little bar where Tolkien and C.S. Lewis would just like meet up for beers and talk about like
Oh
writing the
man.
Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Like, how crazy.
That is insane. 2 weeks ago we saw the kids saw Chronicles of Narnia for the first time, so they enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
last week, my wife and we've been on this we couldn't marathon Star Wars trilogy, the prequels, so because life is so crazy. But last week we finally watched the Revenge of the Sith, which is part three for those who don't know, where Anakin Skywalker, spoiler alert, turns into Darth Vader.
Yeah.
My wife was so like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!" Like, yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's funny though. I watched those films when I was younger, and there's a lot of things that just went over my head, right? Because they were talking about, like there's a tons of like Star Wars civics in there that I just wasn't
Yep.
paying attention to. I was just looking for straight up action.
Yeah.
But they do talk about some serious stuff, and the same for movies like Lord of the Rings, right? You watch it now, this age, you get to appreciate it and you pick up on things that you didn't see before, and it's just a whole new appreciation of the dedication of like
Yep.
Tolkien, Peter Jackson, like and stuff that just adds depth to the film. So that's
Dude,
really
absolutely. And that's like the sign of a good story, right? Is there's so many layers, there's so many levels to it. It goes so much deeper than you initially realize. I was watching another one of my favorites as a kid, and one I'll still like go back to now, and I think holds up remarkably well, is the never ending story.
yeah.
Just fantastic. But I was watching, man, there's a YouTube channel that does these great, they basically talk about the symbolism in films and stories, and they connect it to like, right, Joseph Campbell hero journey and like Carl
Hmm.
Jung, and just kind of like the uh the steps of spiritual evolution. And it was doing a breakdown of the never ending story on that, and how all of this is so much more symbolic. And dude, I absolutely love it. And even as like a kid, you don't pick up on all that stuff, but it shapes you in such like a fundamental way. So yeah, man, I think that's kind of like the purpose of stories, right? As Brian
Oh,
McDonald would say,
absolutely.
like they are survival information.
And speaking of Brian McDonald, Brian McDonald formed this group of students. He brought like four or five of us together, this group that I'm part of. And for the past 5 years, we've been watching movies almost every weekend. We were on a hiatus for a while, but we finally met again after like 6, 7 months this past weekend. And we rekindled with the movie RoboCop, right?
That's a
Which
funny one to come back in with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, which was like phenomenal.
Yep.
I love that film. I love that film. And the
And I'm
last time
hoping this is like 80s, 90s RoboCop, right?
oh
Not the
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
2000s.
Like
Okay, yeah.
no, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. It was like Phil Tippett doing the animation for the ED 209. I'm like that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I just started seeing so many things, right, that I did not pick up on when I was like a kid. And I love the storytelling there. The visual storytelling is great. The pacing of the movie, just each scene is just almost like a movie in itself. And this is me just watching this movie and being very like observant, analytical, which is the point of watching the movie for when I meet with this group, because then we go into like a deep dive and we break down the movie. We kind of strip everything apart, start looking at the how the characters were created, start looking at the movie as a what the story structure is, where the certain breakpoints are, where are the clone characters, where's the land of the dead, and just really operating on like Brian McDonald's like Invisible Ink framework.
Yep.
And man, this is just like this movie's almost perfect. This is almost it is perfect.
Yeah.
It's just great, and when what's in that film very similar to films like Terminator 2, Aliens, and those kind of action movies. Like these movies are so good, you can tell that the creator, the writers, the director put so much into that film. They literally made those films timeless.
Hmm.
And love it when we get to look back at that kind of work, that quality of work, because you and I were working on a film with Brian McDonald, and all these things that we're mentioning, we're taking into consideration, right? What can we do to enhance the story that will possibly be invisible? The audience won't pick up on it, but you and
Yep.
I know subconsciously they will,
Yep.
right? Speaking of
Which Brian
subconscious,
says they won't know it, but they'll feel it. And I'm
they
like,
won't know
okay,
it, but
that's
they
100% it. Yep.
wild story, by the way, now that I mentioned subconscious. I was watching the movie Revenge of this is it Return of the Sith, right? Or is it Revenge of the Sith? I think well,
One of those.
one
Not
of
Revenge of
those.
the Nerds.
Not Revenge of the Nerds for sure. I was watching the movie. My dad calls halfway through the movie. I was like engaged. It was like just one of those moments, like, oh man, bad timing. Hey, dad, but I feel bad. I want to pick up on my dad. I was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm watching the film. I was like, my dad is telling me something. I really don't know what he's saying, but I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm kind of like almost ignoring him, but I kind of detached from the TV. I'm like, are you okay? Everything's fine. Yeah, he's good. Okay, you just want to say hi to the kids. All right, bye. All I knew that he mentioned something about Honduras, which is where my family's from. That night, I dream about my grandmother who passed away years ago. Of, I have a dream
Whoa.
of her dying. Right. I woke up scared. I'm like, what the heck? I won't get into the detail of the dream, but like I woke up scared. What's going on? And I'm trying to make all these weird connections in my mom, my family. What was that? And I start scrolling on social media early that morning, and I find out that one of my aunts from Honduras passed away recently, like 2 days ago. They buried her on Sunday. I'm like, oh my
Whoa.
god, I feel like an idiot. I'm such an asshole. My dad was giving me that information. I didn't listen to it. My subconscious picked up on it. I had a dream
Wow.
about it, and I find out like via social media because my cousins are posting about it. I'm like, I'm such an idiot, man. Such an idiot. It's like one of those things. Like I don't want to miss out on life because I'm like so distracted. So point of the story is your subconscious is listening even if you're like out of tune. So
Dude.
and when you can apply that to storytelling, it's such a powerful tool, man.
Yep. 100%. And that's like so important for people to be aware of that we don't realize is like things are getting in deeper, like below your rational mind into your subconscious, right? And like you need to be aware of that because that has massive ramifications and massive consequences. I have sort of a funny example of that again based on a film. So our my wife's brother, his son Bear, our nephew Bear, his kids' names are Bear and Wild, and they both their names are fitting. Anyway, Bear, when he was like 2.5, 3, like super young, not even like speaking yet, really, right? For whatever reason, he got obsessed with the movie Land of the Lost, the remake with like Will Ferrell,
Oh, the
right? Where they
dinosaurs.
sort of like go into
Oh,
the
okay.
land of the lost and it's all
Oh, that one.
dinosaurs. And he was absolutely obsessed with this as like a toddler and would just watch it over and over and over. And they were like, he probably shouldn't be watching this, but he's a kid, it makes him happy, whatever. They just let him watch it again and again and again. So anyway, fast forward, Bear's like 10 now, and he is deathly afraid of bugs. He's just absolutely terrified of bugs. I've never met a kid who's like, there's a mosquito, there's a spider. Like, he just, if he sees an ant or something, he freaks out. If he
No
sees a
way.
spider in the house, he freaks out. And they've always been like, dude, you got to chill out. Like, it's just bugs. It's not a big deal. And I was rewatching Land of the Lost with him, and there's a scene where they're all sitting around the campfire, and basically this giant mosquito comes up and starts sucking
Oh
the
my.
blood out of Will Ferrell, and it
Oh
sucks so
god.
much blood out of him that it
It's
basically
just.
makes him so lightheaded that he passes out and he falls back and he squishes the mosquito, and blood splatters
Oh
everywhere.
my god.
And I was like, no wonder this kid is terrified of bugs because he was
Right.
watching this when he was like 2.5. Like that idea. And he actually said to me at one point, he's like, what if the mosquito sucks out all my blood? I'm like, dude, that's not going to happen. You're going to be fine.
Poor kid is
But a perfect
traumatized.
example of like, that's in his subconscious, right? He cannot rationally now tell himself, like, no, it's fine. Like, that is deeper in the programming than like his logical mind can be like, it's fine, it's just bugs, right? And so I think we forget about that, especially with kids, because it's like, dude, they don't know the difference. Like, and I think we as adults, like, we try to tell ourselves too, like we know the difference, but again, that stuff gets into your subconscious. So yeah, dude, gotta
Oh
gotta be
yeah.
aware of that stuff.
Oh man, we can go deep in this topic. I mean, even social media caters to what your subconscious and what your, you know,
Yep.
what gets your dopamine,
Yep,
spiked.
exactly.
And you're picking up on things that you just don't know, and then you're behaving one way socially, and then you wonder, like, where the hell this came from, right? Or people out there like, well, okay, you're acting strange, but be
Yep.
careful what you consume, man. And don't
Yep.
show that
They
kid Jumanji, nor I think there's like a crazy indie film called Bugs where like literally bugs are crawling under somebody's skin.
Oh, dude,
Just, dude kind of
you'd
blows
hate it.
up. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't do that. So dude, do you have any updates on supermodels? A lot has happened.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
making
dude, we do
progress.
have some updates. So, our homie Corey, who we worked with 6079 Think, part of the same sort of startup community we are. Corey is officially diving in and helping us build out the product, which has been awesome. I think he's been working on the project with us now for about 2 weeks, and just in that short amount of time, like, dude, we've made
Yeah.
so much progress. So, Corey, you and I are not technical, so we've been theorizing all of these things. We've been working with our sort of AI agents that have a better understanding and can help us kind of understand it. But to actually like figure out how to connect all these components, like build this product, it was definitely like beyond you and I. We've also like, I feel like us in this space, we've all collectively over the last like 6 months been through this journey together where the like advent of vibe coding happened where like, oh, this is amazing, like everybody's a developer
Yeah.
now and everybody's a product builder, right? And we've explored and experimented with some of that stuff, but we've realized to have like a shippable product, like vibe coding is not going to work because as developers say, like it spits out a bunch of spaghetti code. You change
Yeah.
anything, you're going to break everything. So right, you still need like a very knowledgeable, well-rounded dev to help you
Right.
build this stuff. And Corey's been that for us, and he's already like, yeah, just kind of dove in, started to build out the front end of the sort of product explorations I had done, which is really exciting. And he's learning how to connect all of these back end components, right? And he's
Right.
already got a flow working there. Um, so yeah, man, really, really exciting on that front. So the product it's finally starting to like come together in a very exciting way. And then we've still just been kind of like brainstorming ideas, figuring out sort of product features we want to include, talking and working with Jesse Metcalf about the product features we can sort of build into this that don't exist anywhere else yet that will be perfect for sort of our use case and the customers we want to build for. Um, so yeah, like nothing to like show this week per se. But there's a lot of progress kind of happening with the actual building now, which is super exciting. And then I've just been like, I was actually up late last night thinking about like all of the models I want to build and then the products I want to build around them. Um, so for instance, are you familiar with a print technique called risograph?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if you see it, it's a very distinct style where it's got like these almost kind of like super saturated kind of like jewel tones. And then it's got like this really cool screen print, like overprint effect where you print two colors on top of one another and they produce a third. And it was like this really weird, almost like transitional technology between sort of like screen printing and then full on like inkjet printing, where you actually like you burn a screen the same way you would like with screen printing, but then it's just this kind of like automated digital process. Anyway, it creates this very unique aesthetic that like people now like tracking down those old risograph sort of printers and then working on those is like it's like the new letterpress, right? It's very highly desirable. There's actually a studio here in town that's got like a little Riso studio, and you can just kind of go in there and
Wow.
print stuff. Anyway, I was thinking about like, oh man, I cannot wait to make a risograph sort of model to where just like that model alone, and again, like, right, we're entrepreneurs, so we just think this way. I'm like, dude, if I had that model, like the cool little creative business you could build around that, right? Where it's just like risograph.ai. You go
Yeah.
there, you can prompt and get something that looks like a sort of risograph, or you can take one of your designs and basically process it so it looks like it was printed on a risograph. Like, I want that to exist. I would use that all day. So, those are the things that once, yeah, these capabilities happen and we can start like not just having the functionality, but building sort of like little products and projects around them is going to be so exciting.
Yeah, dude, and that is exciting. And just hearing you, just hearing your excitement helps me just almost confirms, right? Like this is also a customer type, like the customer who's thinking like a
Yep.
creative entrepreneur,
Yep.
outside of being just an artist. So just building upon like on top of their IP, coming up with all these styles. And I'm just anxious. I'm anxious as much as anyone for supermodels to be in the hands of these type of creators, both illustrators who just live where their style is just their livelihood, but also these creative entrepreneurs who think differently and who are thinking of scaling, the world builders, right? The world builders
Yep.
of illustration. Oh man, last recording we talked about tattoos. I'm like I've been thinking about how like how my supermodel is gonna look like. So trying to be a little bit more consistent with my art style, and I've been doodling on the side. And you guys are gonna see a little bit of that on my
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
some of the product tool talk today. So just going all in with illustration. So thanks for the update,
Yep.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
excited about that. What we're looking at right now is this Adobe Firefly. Looks like they had a little facelift on their website, which I appreciate because that's often my complaint. I'm like, man, their website is just so confusing
Hmm.
sometimes. So it looks like we got some options here where you get some history of the stuff that you've worked on. This is a earlier this weekend I was playing with their tool Neo, which is on beta right now, or you can really in a simple way just do 3D models, just drag and drop and think
Cool.
womp where you could just like merge and do all these really cool stuff without having any 3D technical skill. Maybe in another video we could dive into more on that tool. But here
Yeah.
you see a little bit of the history, quick access to other tools, their image and video generation, audio generation, and their vector stuff. Ooh, we need to explore this. Um, check out the menus on the left. Got all my boards as well. You got some templates here that you can start up with. Some of my files over here, stuff that there's this crazy. I don't know what you can call this, like a vegan sci-fi battle in this field that I created. I'll share the video right now. And I use Adobe Firefly because they gave you immediate access to Luma Labs Ray 3. So, I don't know if you've seen that, Johnny, but it's pretty wild video.
I have not. I'm
Oh,
excited to see your vegan food fight in the
yeah.
in the garden. Another random idea I had last night where I was like, oh, this is absolutely something Sway could make and or would make. I was thinking about the concept of a video titled Pillow Talk, but it's actually two pillows talking to each other. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is something Sway would absolutely crush. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Pillow
Yeah, yeah,
Talk.
yeah. And end with a pillow fight.
Hmm.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. So, you get immediate access to your generations and generation history. So you're starting to see this all across all the tools now. If you're like me, I hop from using Photoshop Premiere on my desktop to my iPad. So like I get quick access via their cloud service. So that's neat to have. And it
Yeah,
looks
dude,
like
I was
they're
gonna
work.
say too, it's nice that in Firefly it felt like Adobe's obviously like creative tool behemoth, right? And they have all of these hyper complex tools. Even Photoshop, I always talk about like I know a ton of Photoshop. Like my buddy Landon knows a ton of Photoshop, but we know totally different things. Like we use the program in completely
Oh
different
yeah.
ways. But like and Adobe's done a good job of like starting to integrate some AI capabilities into those tools, but it feels like they needed that was AI first, like native AI, and that's what Firefly has really turned into. And it feels like these last few iterations, especially starting with like Firefly boards, it's like, okay, this is how like you build an AI native app with all of these tools, but still bring in some of that functionality that right is you're so well known for
Yeah.
and people are used to.
And you know what it is that they're listening to the community. I mean, we had Captain Haha on our Friday Spaces, and you see all the amazing work that he's doing last Friday, and he's also part of the Adobe Ambassador program. So people like him and tons of other friends who are part of it as well. They're listening. They're giving feedback. You know, they Adobe is not dumb. They know what tools are popular now, and they're competing against them. And they
Hmm.
have all the resources to make that happen and do a better job, you know, especially now
Yep.
that they're accepting like third party tools. I'm like, yeah, that just makes sense. Good you did that. Good
Yeah.
on you.
Yep. Yep.
um so what we're seeing right here is this is just their explore page, which is, you know, should be familiar if you're someone who uses Midjourney or any other AI popular platform. So you click on this, you get the image opens for you, and you get access to the prompt. So this is great training wheels for those who are new to AI prompting for
Yep.
text to image. So anyways, that was one thing I want to share with you guys. Really
Cool.
cool. There's a couple of more tools. There's two more tools um, that I want to talk about today. We have, so we talked about Firefly, and
Yep.
now Nano Bananas on Photoshop,
Game
which
changer.
which is pretty sweet. Now this
Yep.
is on Photoshop Beta. Okay, so you want to test it out. Download Photoshop Beta through your Adobe Cloud Manager, and then make sure you have the latest download. And then once you make a selection with your lasso tool, you'll get this little prompt over here. Okay, and not only Gemini, you get access to Flux. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, in this example, what I did, this is my doodles, right? This is not me text prompting doodles. It's like me on the iPad doodling, right?
Nice.
So I just having fun. Here I do a lasso selection. I prompt for add color to this doodle, and it did just that. I was like, that's
Wow.
pretty
Yeah.
neat.
Yep.
It's really neat. So do the whole thing. I select the whole canvas, and it added color to that. So for those who do more complex kind of drawings, um, this could be a good tool, for brainstorming and that sort of thing, conceptualizing, or if you just want to do things quickly. So
Yep.
that was pretty neat. And there's tons of other examples where I've used Nano Banana to turn my doodles into like refrigerator magnets, and like it's just now I just want to sell my doodle magnets like on Etsy, or so because of all this experimentation, it's totally possible nowadays.
Yep.
So
There you
go
go.
check that
Build
out.
build a little business around it.
Yes, sir. Because if
I
you're
was
not,
going to
then what
say
are you
too,
doing?
but before we move on, Sway, these sort of context aware models in Photoshop makes all the sense in the world. Because I was going to say, like, getting back to like, again, my early use of Photoshop was like making band flyers and collaging
Mhm.
stuff, right? And sort of like building these impossible worlds, modifying existing images or parts of existing images and combining them in a new way. The sort of nano banana and like the flux context aware models like in Photoshop makes so much sense because that feels like such a natural extension of like what Photoshop did and what it was really for, right? We're working on some stuff for story first, like developing some of our characters and like, right, we sort of get a good base on those, but then we want to like add freckles or change the eye
Yeah,
colors. Again, something you could traditionally do in Photoshop and would do in Photoshop, but now you can do it so much more quickly and so much more efficiently in Photoshop. And the other rad thing about having those within Photoshop is now you have all of that in layers. So like you can add those elements, but still have it in a separate layer so you can sort of
yeah,
modify. It's just going to unlock so much.
yeah, yeah. I mean, really, my recommendation is just go head first with this and just incorporate it in your workflow. I mean, I use Nano Banana for creating different character profiles, character reference sheets, T poses, profile shots of the character, frontals, wide shots, close ups, three fourths, everything that's been all that kind of stuff that's been very useful for production and making a movie or an animation. Sometimes let's say I color. I mean, adding color to a doodle like this is pretty straightforward and simple to do in Photoshop or Fresco. But say I'm super lazy that day, I just want to use AI, right? I take it to Fresco and just do further animation, more add motion to it, or use the replicator option. So tons of stuff, and everything's kind of like in house, and it works perfectly. Again, going back to the cloud, everything will pop up. So on your Lightroom, Photoshop, Illustrator, will appear there. So figure that out, you're gonna unlock a lot of things that even Johnny and I probably don't even know about.
Yep.
So their Premiere app for the iPhone dropped a day ago. And
Sick.
what I'm about to show you right now is just a little quick edit that I did using it. I downloaded it this morning and started messing with it. I was really surprised of how beefed up it is with like features. I think it's free. I think it's free. Um, don't quote me on that, but I think it's free and available because it didn't ask me to. It does ask you to sign up for Adobe, but you can still use it without signing in. I think if you sign in, you just get access to saving your projects in their cloud and that sort of thing, or
Yep.
getting access to their generative tools, which you'll see in there, and we'll go and I'll show you guys where that is. So I did a little quick edit using my doodles. Check this out. It's less than 20 seconds. That's me.
So good. Yeah, dude, this is great. Like, you're basically building a little animated short, right?
Yep. So a little rough ending there, but I used their Firefly model to animate the first doodle that you see here. But uh, just
So
to
yeah, dude,
accent,
that like the little waving character, did you like rig that guy up? Like how did that work? Or is that like prompt based?
that's prompt based. That's prompt
Whoa,
based.
cool.
So I just threw in this doodle right over here that I where it is. Here we go. That doodle right there that I made in Fresco, Adobe Fresco, which is also free.
Sweet camo jacket.
Yeah, that's actually my profile pic, or I'm
Yeah.
wearing my camo jacket. So, yeah, just throw it into their Firefly model. I don't think you have access to third-party tools, and just told it to animate it waving. So here you see I'm zooming in into things. I'm adding text. Left to right, right to left, up and down. Didn't do anything to this one, and you get a selection of typefaces and stuff like that. So I took some
Cool.
screenshots just to give you a little bit of
Nice.
visual. So this is what you'll see once you open the app. This first page over here. So immediately you can import from your photo library, or you can start from your files in your cloud or your files inside Google or iCloud. You can start a brand new project and do all sorts of things, add captions. I started generating like you started generating voiceover stuff, and like really neat what you can do, because inside you can do image to video, you can expand on an image. So say your image doesn't fit the aspect ratio, whether you're doing HD or a portrait, well, you can use AI to expand it just to add a little bit more of that missing data if you have just black on top and the bottom, or left or right. So here on the second shot, you'll see the timeline, which is pretty straightforward. I got this track. It seems like you got access to stock music via this app. So, if you're vlogging, you're doing, you really don't care much for like original music. You can just straight up download it from the app. Same goes for sound effects and other images and visuals. You have the option to add titles, and I think you can stack up to like 3 or 4 tracks here. So you can detach audio from your video and you move things around, get things in sync, off sync. Really neat. You export options, 4K, 720, all the good stuff here. One of the things I didn't try was export this project to Premiere, but that
Yeah.
option is there. That's going to be pretty neat if you're on the go, right?
Yep.
And you want to expand on that later and on the desktop, well, you'll get that option as well. So
Yeah,
this is
dude,
right
that's
up your
great to
alley.
like lay down an initial idea or cut on your phone and then send that over to your desktop so you can really dig in and finish it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that option. Love that option. So here you get access to style templates, fonts, and colors, and all sorts of layouts, and you can align your text left, right, center. Change the font if you want to. I don't know if you can download. Maybe this connects to their like whole suite of fonts, the Adobe fonts. I did not test that out, but you do have a lot of selections here. Keep the scrolling is almost endless. Um, and here you see I added like a little sound effect over here at the end and another title, and this is their library of sound effects, which looks
Cool.
very similar for their music as well and other things. You can do voiceover, so if you want to narrate over your video, you could. If you want to do ADR, you could. But one of the cool things that I did is I did a voice to AI. So I did a voice to AI, and what I created over here was a monster sounds. Right, I couldn't think of anything different. I just like, all right, I'm just gonna do monsters. So I started doing all these like snarls and growls and roars and stuff, and I prompt over that, and this is what we got. So really cool sounds that I was able to generate. I added like zombie sounds, all sort of monster sounds, just using my voice. So it's like really neat that you have that option inside this little app.
Yep.
And this is the part where I took that one image of a doodle sketch of me, and where I prompt for 250 credits. That hurts.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
It's all about
That's
those
the
credits now.
there's all the gimmick. That's it. That's the catch. So this is the raw footage of me waving. It's 5 seconds. So I'm not sure. I think it's using Adobe Firefly. Not click on here. I'm waving too here. So really cool what you could do. All of this took less than like 10 minutes to explore. So download it, check it out, and have fun with it. Record your kids, your dogs, whatever,
Dude,
cats.
good stuff. Like that's a really full featured like mobile,
It's insane.
studio really. Like and it's always fun like we see that and we're like, "Oh, that's cool. We can, start here and then move to the desktop." You'll see kids that will just like this will be their native like creative playground and they'll get so insane with it. My nephews are this way with like certain like just obscure iPad apps, but they figure out ways to do it and like turn it into a new art form. So I could see that like very much being the case with like, yeah, kids who are just like, no, I build everything on my iPhone and like I don't need anything outside of this.
It's insane.
Got a fun book that I wanted to share with everybody. It's called A Guide for the Advanced Soul by Susan Hayward. And I think I found it at Powell's, and it was just like that spine like stood out to me. And I was like, what is that?
Mm.
What is this book about? And it's really cool. It's basically this book filled with just kind of like proverbs, wisdom, sayings, but there's a special way it's supposed to be used, and I kind of keep it right by the door for anybody who wants to basically try out the book. But what you do is you basically have the book sitting there. You start thinking about like an answer or a question you want an answer for, or something you're kind of like dealing with, right? Something you're kind of working through. You hold that in your mind. You kind of close your eyes as you think about that, as you sort of picture the book, and then hold that in your mind, and then you open it up to a random page, and then kind of whatever you land on is the answer you were looking for. So I'm gonna have to flip this around, but what did we get? Of a certainty, the man who can see all creatures in himself and all creatures knows no sorrow. So, of a certainty, the man who can see all creatures in himself, and himself and all creatures knows no sorrow. So,
Okay.
there we go.
Deep.
Guide for the advanced soul.
All right. I I see the beast in me. I feel the beast in me.
You got to embrace the shadow, right, Sway?
Embrace the shadow, man. I'm about to activate my savage mode.
Let's see it.
Love it.
Let's go there.
Love it.
Um,
I kind of did. I kind of did it with this whole Premiere demo, but you guys
Dude,
couldn't hear the
absolutely.
growls and the monster
You,
sounds, but you will.
you you went full monster, full zombie. You
Oh man, I
recognize
love
that
doing
you
animal
are the
embodiment.
zombie.
Oh yeah, dude. But this was fun catching up, man. I'm glad you're back. I'm happy that we get to talk about tools, get to talk about AI, illustration. I'm happy that I'm like doodling and trying to build my own supermodel. Because I have some plans, man. I want to sell some shirts and calendars and books and refrigerator magnets.
Let's go.
It's really neat that we're doing this and just connecting with the community with all this information. And we're making progress with our own tool. And that's always fun. We drop our podcast every Tuesday. We talk to artists and have amazing augmented conversations every Friday. Um, this week we're gonna have art curator Erica Rand, and who's done amazing work. Her work has been like on like Beeple's like gallery. She's been exhibited in a bunch of really cool places. Great photographer. I think you'll love her, Johnny, because she's kind of like around the area where you were kind of raised in. So I
Oh,
think she
sweet.
lives. Yeah, I think she's from Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Or
Shout out
yeah,
Southwest.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So join us. Thanks for watching, and it's nice chatting with you, Johnny.
Yeah, good catching up. Thanks, Sway. And thanks for listening,
Peace, everyone.
everybody.